You could not live with your own failure. And where did that bring you? Back to them. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this one, we need to talk about how we are so back. We are so freaking back, baby. Woo! There you see it. Marvel shocker. Russo Brothers in talks to direct next 2 Avengers movies. Oh my God. I gotta say, guys, when I saw this headline, I didn't really believe it. I was a little bit skeptical. You know, I thought of that scene from Endgame with Hawkeye where he was like, don't give me hope. You know, and then I did a little bit of digging, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it looks like this is true. I mean, we have a story here on The Hollywood Reporter of these guys coming back to do the next 2 Avengers movies, and I gotta say, I am genuinely excited for this. This makes me so happy. I am so pumped. I mean, you know, it doesn't guarantee that the movies are going to be good, but it gives me hope. It truly, truly gives me hope. And so in this video, I wanted to talk about this, go over the news, you know, talk about why I think overall this is a good sign, and then do a little bit of a check-in on some of the Avengers books. Where are we now in the current state of the comic book market? And will this news kind of implicate a return of MCU spec books? Are we on the brink of the next golden age of spec? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it. But of course, before I get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it. Helps support the channel doing those things. But let us get into this video here today. Like I already said, Marvel shocker, Russo Brothers in talks to direct next 2 Avengers movies exclusive. Joe and Anthony Russo are assembling a team once again. The Russo Brothers are in early talks to return to Marvel Studios to direct not just 1, but the next 2 Avengers movies, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Now that's kind of interesting because, you know, there's been rumors now that we're actually going to be getting 3 Avengers movies. You know, we had talked, you know, they had said Kang Dynasty was 1, and then there were news and reports that Secret Wars was going to be actually broken up into 2 movies. And I kind of wonder if that's still the case or not, but let's carry on. The hiring ends a month-long high-stakes search by the studio for filmmakers to oversee the 5th and 6th Avengers movies. Multiple names were in contention, including Deadpool and Wolverine's director Sean Levy, who was offered the gig. Sources say the talks are in the early stages. The move also marks a homecoming for the Russos, who jumped off their world of TV comedy on shows like Arrested Development and Community. By the way, their episodes of Community are like the best. I mean, if you guys know the paintball episodes, I mean, when those guys did the paintball episodes and then it was announced that they were going to do Winter Soldier, you know, and everyone was like, oh, why are you getting the Community guys to do, you know, this Winter Soldier movie? It was like, oh, go watch the paintball episodes. You know, these guys are absolutely going to kill it. The 5th Avengers movie was previously titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and was to star Jonathan Majors as time-traveling villain Kang, but Marvel cut ties with the actor after he was convicted of the assault and harassment in December. Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton was attached to direct, but he also departed. The feature is expected to get a new name and a new focus. So right there, that's to me is one of the more interesting, you know, elements to this article is that, you know, we didn't really know what was going to happen with our good friend Kang the Conqueror. Is he really donezo? Well, with that wording, it kind of implies that he is. And especially if the Russo brothers are coming in, I feel like they're going to have, you know, a lot of creative freedom to sort of discuss, you know, what's going to happen with the next stage of this character. Also, it was reported that the writer, Michael Waldron, who was writing Secret Wars, has left the project. So I have to assume that maybe that was a conversation with the Russo brothers. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus and McFeely, the ones who wrote, you know, all the Captain America movies and Infinity War and Endgame, actually joined this project later on. If they do, I'm absolutely all in once again on the MCU. Because while I'm excited again about the Russo brothers, and we'll talk about this in a second, I do think that the true unsung heroes and the keys to the success of those films are Marcus and McFeely, the writers. The 6th Avengers film is Secret Wars, which is a storyline the Russos have long talked about wanting to adapt. A pair of 1980s comic book series was focused on all-powerful antagonist known as the Beyonder, who was in the first installment pitted Marvel's heroes and villains against each other on a planet known as Battleworld. 2015 revived the series with writer Jonathan Hickman. In Hickman's Secret Wars, all of the Marvel's multiverses are destroyed, with remnants surviving on a single planet ruled by the villain Doctor Doom. Well, there is the, you know, article overall. Very interesting. I mean, very exciting. I am definitely thinking this was a much-needed move. And the language definitely doesn't confirm that they're actually directing it. It does say that they're in talks. But the fact that this is coming out in so many trades, in so many official publications, I do sort of wonder if this is one of those, like, it's definitely in the bag. And I do think that, because we're getting San Diego Comic-Con next week, it is possible that they want to do a little bit of a pre-announcement. Maybe these guys are going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, doing the Hall H stuff. In fact, San Diego Comic-Con has 2 Hall H panels, which is kind of makes sense, actually. They're doing one on Thursday, and I think the reason they're doing that on Thursday is because they have to talk about, Deadpool and Wolverine. I do think that, we're going to see Hugh Jackman there. We're going to see Ryan Reynolds there. I have some insider info of other stuff that, I can't say, but I do think, it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, before I get into a little bit of a market report, for God's sake, Swag, can we talk about some comic books? Okay, yes, person who wants me to talk about, some of the books that are related to this. Can you just take a second to talk about why I think that this is important? I feel like if Feige came at them, he must have come at them with a deal that made a lot of sense to them, that was attractive to them, that basically said, hey, you can come into this project, you can bring on, any kind of writing changes that you want to have. You guys can have, some creative control to this process. And hopefully the terms that they're getting are going to prevent people from meddling, which, I think meddling is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of movies end up bad. Quite frankly, it's just you have too many cooks in the kitchen. The fact that they're coming in with the pedigree that they have, the history, the stature that they have with, having done it and been successful, it's a really good thing because you have to think about, the dynamics that occur in those buildings. Like they're going to be able to walk in and not be challenged in the way that a new first-time Marvel director would be. Because here's what happens. Let me paint a picture for you guys, okay? I've been in these Disney buildings. I know what this is like, okay? A lot of people, talk about, these grand conspiracies and stuff, and sometimes it's just the, the way that, humans interact with each other that makes things difficult. But you go into this building, you're a first-time director, okay, and you have no power, even though you are the director, right? It's everyone thinks it's okay, it's your vision. It doesn't really work that way. You go in there and you got to placate everybody and you got to say well, we really love to do this. And you kind of have to talk in abstraction and you can't really, push exactly what you want to do too hard because then what happens is your idea gets, the baby thrown out with the bathwater. If you say, oh, I want to, shoot everything and it's going to be blue. Then the executive across the table is like, well, I don't know if I like blue. I like the color red more. And then it becomes a whole discussion about blue versus red, when really it was just a very, very small creative choice. And you said blue and you're like, damn, I shouldn't have said blue. I should have just not said anything and just done it anyways. And then no one would have ever raised that question. And so it's one of those things. When you're a new director or you don't have, the power in the room to tell people no, you just have to take everyone's notes and you kind of have to do it by committee and everyone, has their hands in your stuff. And sooner or later, you just sort of throw up your arms and say, okay, well, whatever you want, just tell me what to do and I'll just collect my check. And that's what happens to a lot of writers and directors that are in this process. But if you're the Russos and you come in there and you say, hey, this is what we want to do, and you have the pedigree that you've done the 2 biggest Avengers movies that have made this company more money than, any of the movies previously. That 25-year-old executive, who's just getting their first job out of USC Film School, who feels like they can raise their hand and say well, I think we should use the color red. You're not going to do that to the Russo brothers. If you said that in the meeting, Kevin Feige's going to look at you and he's going to be like, he's going to give you the WTF look. And the Russo brothers are going to look at you and they're going to just stare you down cold and say, tell us why you think red is better. And the room is going to be super silent. It's going to be super awkward and you're going to feel like an idiot. So the point is, where I'm going with all this, why I'm saying all this stuff is that this hiring means to me that the creative control is going to go back into the creator's hands. And even though there's a lot of hurdles that they're still going to have to jump over, their stature gives them a lot of leeway into this process. And at the end of the day, I trust filmmakers more than I trust executives to deliver an excellent movie. These guys are comic fans. Joe Russo, I think, has talked about, how he loves Wolverine. He's got a Hulk 181 and a 9.8, I think, in his personal collection. These guys want to do a great movie that the fans are going to enjoy. And that's very, very encouraging. Now, all we need is the Russo brothers on board. And if we get them on board, Avengers 1 is going to the moon. And it definitely needs to go to the moon because it's been going down for a long time. So, let's take a little bit of the rest of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little, story about filmmaking politics. I mean, we could talk about it more and more, if we want to in the future. But I know that this channel is based on comic books. So we got to keep it comics, even though I very much enjoy talking about cultural's connection to comics. I mean, that's kind of what my whole channel is about. So let's talk about this one. Avengers #1, one of my favorite books in my collection, 4,203 universal copies on the census. This is one that, has always had a hard time, maintaining a high value on the secondary market, growing over time. I mean, there was a recent 9/6 sale happened earlier this year that went for $432,000. That is the record price for this book. It was at one of those heritage auctions. A lot of people thought that price was one of the more respectable ones that came out of that auction that, didn't really get a lot of good prices, but, still pretty good. I mean, $432,000 for a book of this nature that's basically top of census is not that much compared to the other major Marvel keys. And that's always been the one that's always been the thing that's kind of gone against this book, is that, it's not really, quote unquote, a true first appearance, not actually a first Hulk or a first Thor or whatever. So it's never had as much value as those other books. But I still think it's so significant. I think the name itself, the Avengers #1, the name brand is what you're getting with this book. That's the spirit behind this one. And that's why I love it so much, because it means so much. It's all the teams, it's all the heroes coming together to create that team. But, even though it was an impressive sale and it set the record here at the top of the census, down here in the mid grades to the low grades, this is definitely a book that has been correcting quite a lot. I mean, let's zoom in here on the 4.0, 30-day moving 4,600, which actually, I did a little pre-check of this. That little tick up is kind of a monster sale that was surprising. I mean, somebody actually did a fixed price on eBay for $48.50. I don't know if this was actually a confirmed, sale that went through, but that's a really impressive number to have gotten for that book, especially when you consider that, earlier, in the year or a couple months ago, someone did a buy it now for $31.36. So how is it possible that $1,600 more, in just a couple months? And this was, obviously before we got this sort of announcement. But this is definitely one that, as you guys can see earlier in the year, 3,300, 3,200, 3,200. So, it was trading at below $1,000 a point. Before it was a book that was like 1,000 a point, 1 0 is 1,000, a 2 0 is 2,000, 3 0 is 3,000. So a 4 0 was 4,000. And this one was actually going, for less than that, 3,000. This is definitely one that had, been feeling the pains of the 2021 correction. Although, based on the graph, maybe that's always where it kind of wanted to be. But it'll be interesting to see if this book is able to turn around at all. I mean, again, it's always got issues because it's not, the true major key, but it is still a fantastic book. Now, this one is something we have to talk about. This one is, of course, very interesting. It's been a while since I've talked about Avengers 8 here on the channel. But, based on that article, where the movie is going to get, a new sort of rebrand or new context to it. I'm sure, we're getting a lot of tweaks. And based on how Loki season 2 ended, it does sort of feel like if they wanted to, they could basically say, yeah, Kang is done. They kind of wrote it in a way that sort of implied that they could if they don't want to use him again. And it's looking like that might be the case. And so this book is, this one has seen brighter days. 3,300 on the census. 9/8 have 4 on the census. The 9.2 actually sold fairly decently recently compared to where it was going for 3,600. Obviously, it was going insane at $11,000 in 2021. I mean, can you believe that? Can you imagine you're somebody who bought this for $11,000 and the recent sale is 3,600? I mean, that's pretty rough. But based on 3,600, I mean, at least you're still selling at the prices that this book was selling for in 2019, because there are other grades that it's actually doing even worse than that. I mean, if you look at the 6.0 copies right here, let's zoom in on that. I mean, look at the recent sales for this book: $599, $552, $650. I mean, that's even lower than what this book was selling for in 2020. And if you guys remember, 2020 was when we started to get the casting announcements of Jonathan Majors. That's why this book had an early spike up. But this is definitely one that has been on struggle street. And based on what they're saying with, Jonathan Majors, it seems like that could be the end of it. That could be the end of that book as far as the MCU is concerned. Then, of course, we have Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #1, the original one, the Jim Shooter series. I just was curious to check in on the 9/8 here. 1,720 9/8, 30-day moving 557, which was pretty impressive. And what the holy? 1946? Is that a real number? Someone paid $2K for this book? What is this, like a double cover or a newsstand or something crazy? No. It's just a normal book. What the heck is going on? Oh, that's what. Oh, Go Collect. Okay. It's a full 9/8 set. But Go Collect has this as Secret Wars #1. Okay. Guys, let's clean it up a little bit. Well, this book right here, look at this one. This was another one that's crazy too. Okay, Goldin Auction selling at $793, yet here on eBay, someone bought a fixed price for $223. I mean, what is going on here with, some of these people that are on, auctions? In fact, look at this twice. Auction Goldin $793, Auction Goldin $738. Fixed price eBay $223, Auction eBay $204, fixed price eBay $230. Auction Goldin $610. Whoa. Did I just come across something in real time recording this video? What the heck is going on, guys? How is this book on Goldin selling for what? Auction Goldin 1,586? What the hell is going on here? Did I just come across a shill bidding, money laundering situation? That is super weird, guys. Okay, we're going to have to unpack that a little more and uncover that in another video at some point. But I can finish up this video here. Anyways, I pulled up the Go Collect trending books right here. And what do you guys notice here? Look at all the MCU spec. Red Hulk, Agatha, X-Force 1. We got Captain America First, Falcon, Green Lantern right here. I mean, a lot of spec once again. Because maybe we are back, guys. We are back. I realize that there's still a lot of people out there that don't like the MCU, but I can't wait. Like, I loved it when the MCU was great. I enjoy speculation. Not because I think it's like, you're going to get rich or stuff. I just enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun to be like, hey, that character I really enjoyed in the movie is, in this comic book that I own in my collection. Or it's fun to like go digging in the wild and be like, oh, maybe this character is going to show up, or I wonder what they're going to do with this storyline. I hope we can get back to that. And by bringing on the Russo Brothers, I have a little bit of that hope restored. And this is very, very exciting news. I hope it is officially official. I hope it goes through. And hopefully we see them at San Diego Comic-Con and get some exciting news. I'm going to be going to San Diego Comic-Con next week. Videos might be from my hotel room. Maybe I'll do some reports, or I'll do some live streams, at the end of each evening or something like that. It'd be cool to do some real-time coverage. I'll let you know. But I'll definitely be doing, the usual San Diego type of content. We'll talk to the dealers. We'll get the market reports. I'll pick up some books, I'm sure. But it's going to be really, really fun. Anyways, that's all right for this video. What do you guys think about this news? What do you guys think about Avengers books? What's your outlook on the future for, superhero-related Marvel books or even DC books, which I'm also very, very excited about. Anyways, that's all for this one. Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next video.